Hello and welcome to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Thank you so much for returning for another segment. We're going to be speaking with Lisa Marie Clinton in this segment. She's founder of Avail and managing director of Avail support at CentralReach. CentralReach is the leading provider of autism and IDD care software. She's joining us to talk about Avail and how it works in empowering individuals with autism throughout their employment journey. Welcome to Health Professional Radio. Lisa Marie Clinton, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Neil. Great to be here.
Well, tell us a bit about yourself. What is your area of expertise and what led you to become founder of Avail?
Great. Well, I actually started my career teaching children with autism in one of the first ABA schools here in Ireland, if you got the accent. And from my working in education and employment and with families, I really kind of became frustrated with the lack of follow-on support into adulthood. So sometimes, it's kind of forgotten about that. Children with a disability become adults with a disability and require additional support throughout their life. And while I was kind of doing my research, I went back and done a master's in college. I also worked with a wee boy called Liam McCardle, a 5-year-old boy, the diagnosis with autism, and he was fully engaged and motivated by his iPad. So that kind of sparked me to think, okay, well, how else can I teach you? Can I provide an add-on service that's kind of like a digital therapy? And then when I thought about that, and I was like, I could provide 24/7 prompts to Liam, who required, one-to-one assistance, but also a program that his parents could implement, his teacher he could have in the community. And that really kind of got me excited to say, okay, I can do more. I can serve more. I can, transform my teaching into a digital therapy and digital prompts, which I really felt was needed in the space. So that was many kind of moons ago, as we say here. And I'm just delighted that obviously we're at a point now that with support from CentralReach and we've multiple case studies and partnerships that we're serving, thousands of individuals to help them reach their maybe goals in independence or be it in employment either.
How difficult is the employment journey for individuals with IDD and autism?
Yeah, you have to think about the very start of, maybe some of the skills you might need to prepare yourself for employment. So be it that, going for an interview or even traveling for an interview, what to dress, what might be, common practice. Again, we all have a common goal to be independent, to grow a member of a team, each one of us. And that's what a person with a disability wants, of course, as well. But that even initial step of trying to get a job can be a massive mountain to overcome. So through the interview process, and then maybe even if you're successful in the job, well, you might have a different learning style compared to everyone else. We know that even most of us in society and the community are visual learners, and that's definitely within the kind of neurodiverse community where visuals is their preferred way of learning, and maybe requiring additional repetition to master a skill. So there are just even two aspects to getting a job and even kind of becoming competitive in their employment setting that may not be kind of recognized or addressed, which then will impact someone's experience and maybe their success in employment.
Is Avail focused on solely getting folks into employment or the workforce that isn't traditionally geared toward neurodiversity, or is it about creating neurodiverse employment so that individuals can be exposed to it?
I think we do a bit of both. Mm-hmm. So we work with agencies who support individuals. So they might call them job coaches, and they will assist that person to be successful in employment in a corporate. And what we're seeing now is that some of those corporates are outreaching and saying, look, we want to be more inclusive. We want to look at, some. We know Microsoft has, Walmart has a neurodiverse kind of program. So some are trying to do it internally, and outside of that, we have job coaches who may be working with maybe smaller employers and utilising Avail alongside a job coach to help that person to be successful. And we help them in a way to get a job. So what are the skills that you might need to get through that interview process? And definitely when they become on site. So how can you upskill at a fast rate and learn the employment duties that's expected of you? So then we can fade out a job coach that person can be have ownership of their learning, can have self-direction, and can just be like any other employee.
Are there programs that are suggested or that are even prerequisites to being a candidate for Avail's services and support? Or is this something that anyone at any stage of their employment capability, as far as being of age, can begin to use their services if they're intellectually capable? Yeah,
so basically anyone can need it or can benefit from it or use it as such. Mm-hmm. So what we do say is those who may have experience with, smart devices, because obviously this is a software we implemented on iPhone or phone or tablet, iOS and Android. So obviously someone that's motivated and has experience with it and may need one-to-one support, because as such we're trying to digitalize elements of that person can have what traditionally would have been maybe a person given verbal prompts or showing someone how to do it. We're digitalizing that, not replacing but augmenting that one-to-one support. And then, where are they in the journey? They can use it as the start to get into employment and on-site, and maybe as a fade-out approach, that when you go to fade out that one-to-one, that you still have a program that provides 24/7 prompts if you need. So sometimes at the end of that, that's kind of more like a security blanket as such, and it is quite innovative where we can personalize prompts and you can actually monitor from a distance. So it means that you still have some connection with the person, but you're enabling them to be independent without your constant support. And another question you asked then as well was, how is the kind of profile created? So we do, as most of us on the team have worked in this space and are experts in this area. We have some content, from our experience, what are common challenges or goals or tasks that somebody may require that then can be personalized. But the nice thing about Avail is that you can also create your own. So Home to Suites is a hotel that implements Avail, and they have duties that we would not, we wouldn't know about, and they create their own personalized profile which matches their environment. And as such, as kind of inclusive design works, it may benefit one person with a disability, but what they recognise, it can benefit everyone as kind of across all their employee base.
What would you like to see in the future as far as technologies that support neurodiversity in the workplace?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it really is inclusiveness and understanding the need. So working with the individuals who may implement this technology to ensure that it's purpose-built for them, understanding the challenges that they have, and I suppose leveraging the advances of technology, which this market I don't think has fully got to embrace. But, we can see even through COVID that we're seeing, because we're pushing boundaries, that of course they can engage with, technology and innovation like everyone else is. But somehow I feel that they've kind of been left behind, and that there still is this last feeling. And that's really what I would like to see, that's broken down.
Give us a couple of websites where our listeners can learn more.
Okay, well, there's one that I'm actually just off the call from them. 14500 is for more maybe corporates who want to explore what can they do, what is next steps. They really have a good guideline and creating valuable insights, as in where where to go, and examples of how other corporates are kind of looking at their policies and putting into action different plans for kind of a high level C-suite and implementation of, neurodiversity programs and D&I. So that would be one that I would recommend. And also even, our website as an example of on the ground support. So that's availsupport.com. To see, well, what does it look like? How can technology actually be implemented, or how would it be used? Because again, it's hard to maybe imagine. I think that's one of the challenges as well. It's hard to see, what are the actions that we can put in place to really kind of move closer to being more inclusive.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here on Health Professional Radio this morning.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you for your interest and your time.
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard, in conversation with Lisa Marie Clinton, founder of Avail and managing director of Avail Support at CentralReach. Audio copies of this program are available at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au. You can also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, listen in on SoundCloud, and be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Health Professional Radio.